This Week in America with Ric Bratton. Issues that matter to you. Here's your host, Ric Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network. Great to have you with us on the program today. As mentioned in the beginning, interesting segment we're going to do. Sally Asher is our guest, coming to us via Skype from Australia. Sally is a health scientist, weight loss coach. She wrote Losing It in France, Secrets of the French Diet, to share her story, help others discover the secret to living the good life while losing weight naturally. Sally Asher, welcome to This Week in America. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Rick. I'm delighted to be with you.
Your story is like so many others. We battle our weight. You did it through the teen years, most of your 20s. You were spent with the yo-yo dieting, the whole thing. And then suddenly you moved to France. You're able to lose 25 pounds. You've kept it off for the last 10 years. Let's talk about growing up, the food problems you had, again, so common to many of us, and then what actually happened in France where you were able to lose the weight and keep it off.
Sure. Well, what happened was growing up, very early on, I learned that food meant love, and I learned to, I was rewarded with food, I was comforted with food, and I always loved food and I loved eating. What happened when I hit my teens is I started to gain weight and I started to crash diet, start these restrictive diets that, in an attempt to manage my weight. And it actually made the problem worse because when I went on these diets, I actually felt, punished, I felt deprived,
Right.
I felt guilty, and it actually led to more rebound overeating. So I was caught in this cycle of yo-yo dieting, and I really just was fed up with not being able to manage my weight and just wanted to eat what I loved and eat with pleasure. And when I met a Frenchman in Melbourne, Australia, and we moved back to Paris to live with his family. A few weeks into the relationship, he told me that I ate too much, too fast, and too often. And I said, but and that I needed to lose weight. And I said, but I'm trying, but I just can't. And what happened when I moved back to Paris to live with his family is I started to notice how the French eat and really observe that they really only eat when they're hungry. They sit down and eat with their full attention, and they stop when they're satisfied. So I quit dieting and started to do the same. And it meant really, that sort of just they mainly stick to 3 meals, sitting down, eating with my full attention, eating foods that I love. So not being afraid to eat bread or cheese or even chocolate and drink a little wine, everything in moderation. And I found the weight started to come off. I walked a lot in Paris like they do, being naturally active. And then just, the weight came off. It was pleasurable. I didn't feel deprived. I wasn't dieting. And with those habits, I've been able to maintain that for over 10 years now, and really just putting food back in its proper perspective, not using it for emotional reasons, just eating, mainly due to physical reasons.
Sally Asher is our guest on This Week in America. Our website is thisweekinamerica.us. Sally's website for coaching, and she deals with individuals one-on-one through the internet, dealing with people basically worldwide. It's sallyasher.com, ASHER.com. The book, Losing It in France, is available at her website, losingitinfrance.com, as well as Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Go to our website. You can get information and link up directly with Sally and get that. And you mentioned something which I found interesting, that once you allowed yourself to eat some of the foods that you loved, and these are the foods that would scare us before, that suddenly that hold over them was gone. You can eat it in moderation, and it really loses that hold that it has on you.
Exactly. I think that the reason why we overeat certain foods is because we don't believe we should be eating them in the first place. And as we know, just as in physics, resistance creates force. So when you think you can't have something, you want it even more. And it actually makes those certain foods have more power over you. So then you find you can't eat just one cookie, you want to eat the whole packet. Whereas when you know that you can have a cookie again when you really want it, then it's easier to stop at, say, 1 or 2 and eat moderately and just keep those portions moderate. And it's not about fearing these, chocolate or cheese or bread or wine. The French don't fear food. In fact, they eat with great pleasure, and they really, really focus and thoroughly taste their food and enjoy it. And it's one of life's great pleasures. So when you put food into its proper proper perspective and you use it, for fuel and for pleasure, but not as a coping mechanism, then you'll find that moderating your intake is a lot easier.
We've got a couple minutes left. I knew time would go by quickly. We'll have Sally back on another program, but you've got the Thin for Life program. That information's available at sallyasher.com. What are some of the cues that you use? What are some of the tricks that you use to help people actually lose the weight and be able to keep it off without being on a restrictive diet?
Well, the first trick is really not to try to give up anything. In fact, I get people to eat with structure and really and balance, and so I just get them mainly to stick to 3 meals and to drink as much as they want, non-calorific drinks in between, but really just when they sit down and they eat with their full attention, without distractions, really focusing on the food, really make an effort to cook for yourself at home and eat fresh seasonal produce, and to eat when they're hungry. So sit down to the table hungry, listen, eat slowly, listen for that whisper of satiety, and stop when you're satisfied rather than stuffed. If you eat fast, if you eat while distracted, you'll probably pass the point and you'll be overly full and uncomfortably full. And so it really is important to focus on the meal as you eat and then to stop when you're satisfied. That's a really important one. A lot of people eat while distracted and they keep eating past that point. And it really then you end up eating too much.
I think if you take anything away from the program today, it's mindful eating. And you keep talking about that in the book and online at sallyasher.com. And the book is Losing It in France. So often we're mindlessly eating. I don't know how many times you finish eating something and you really didn't enjoy it. And you talk about full attention is important to the food, tasting it and enjoying it. So basically mindful, be aware of what you're doing, enjoy it. When it's over with, move on.
Exactly. I think, it's all that mindless and non-hunger eating that really puts on the weight. If you actually eat when you're hungry, stop when you're satisfied, enjoy it and focus on it, thoroughly taste your food, then you will not have a weight problem.
The book is called Losing It in France. Our guest on the program has been Sally Asher. She's available for coaching, consulting. You can find that information at sallyasher.com. The book is available at the website, losingitinfrance.com. Great tips on the website as well. You can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and buy it. You can go to our website, This Week in America, as well and get information and link up directly with Sally. Sally, thank you for joining us on the program. Look forward to having you back. Got many more questions because it makes sense. What you're saying makes sense, and for Sally, it's worked. Been able to take off the pounds and to keep it off. Sally, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for listening This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network. Okay, that went by quickly.
Yes.
I told you it would. It's so difficult sometimes to get everything you want in there. We're just going to keep going, and we'll do the second one.
Okay.
And Otto, are we still rolling? I see a thumb, and I assume that's Otto's coming out from the door, and we'll do this here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America. Great to have you with us on the program. Website, thisweekinamerica.us. Information on that website on the guest on the program, including our next guest, Sally Asher, a health scientist, weight loss coach. She wrote Losing It in France, Secrets of the French Diet, to share her story, help others discover the secret to living the good life while losing weight naturally. She's with us on today's program. Sally, welcome back to the program. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Information, by the way, available at our website, thisweekinamerica.us, sallyasher.com. That's ASHER. And the book is available at losingitinfrance.com, Amazon.com, and BarnesandNoble.com. Sally was with us one time before, and on the program she was talking about what she went through. And very basically, as so many of us, we grow up, we have a weight problem, we get frustrated. That forces us to even eat a little bit more. We go from diet to diet. And Sally, I know you've said that dieting as a solution, which you were looking to dieting as a solution, actually became a big part of the problem.
That's right, Rick. I dieted. I tried every diet known to mankind for many years, and nothing worked for me permanently because at the end of the day, I feel deprived, punished, guilty, and it actually led to rebound overeating. So when I thought I couldn't have something, I wanted it even more. And this actually kept backfiring for me until I learned to just quit dieting, learn how to eat like the French, and was able to finally lose the weight once and for all.
In the book, you talk about diet secrets of the French. They pass them down from generations to generations. Why don't you pass them down to Americans from generation to generation? Help us out here. What are some of the secrets that the French use to enjoy food and not gain weight?
Well, I think probably the main secret is being attuned to your body. So, really using your internal cues of hunger and satisfaction to guide your eating. So, even if there's food left on your plate, if you're satisfied, you stop eating. And with the huge portions we have in Australia and in the United States, and if you've been conditioned to finish everything on your plate since you were a child because there were starving children in Africa,
Yes.
then you're going to overeat because we're just being served way too much in restaurants, and even at home. Our plates are bigger, our cups are bigger, everything's bigger. And it really is about then just overeating because portion sizes are too big. In France, everything's about, half to a third of the size, and they really go for quality, not quantity. And I think that, they don't eat when they're not hungry. They wait for hunger. They're not afraid to get hungry. They sit down to the table hungry and they leave the table satisfied.
You talk about being able to pretty much eat in moderation, but eat whatever you want. And for 10 years, you've been able to keep off that initial 25 pounds that you did. How difficult has that been? Because as I'm reading, it's like you're following these principles and life is pretty good.
Well, that's right. I'm one of those lucky people now, which I never thought would be possible, where I eat everything. I don't restrict anything, but, I don't get fat. And really, that's because I eat for the right reasons. So I wait for hunger, and then I sit down, eat mindfully with my full attention. And then when I'm satisfied, I listen for that whisper of satiety. I stop when I'm satisfied, knowing full well that when I'm hungry again, I can eat what I love. And it's not about depriving. I used to be one of these people that could never stop at one piece of chocolate. I used to want to eat the whole block. But now I can have, a piece of chocolate after dinner within the context of a meal, and, I can stop, and I can have one cookie and I can stop. And for me, that's really the secret, being able to eat a little bit of everything, not trying to give up anything, not trying to deprive myself or punish myself, but eating what I love, but everything in moderation, always the fresh fruit and veggies, and then the treats as well.
Sally's book is Losing It in France. It's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to her website, losingitinfrance.com. Sally also has great tips. She's got blogs, a lot of information on her website, sallyasher.com, ASHER.com. One service that she has, and she's able with the internet to do this worldwide, is Thin for Life program. How important is that to have basically your own coach who's able to answer questions and sort of guide you through the day so you make those wise choices?
I think it's really, really helpful for people because a lot of people know intuitively what a healthy meal is and what a healthy choices are, but they just can't do it. And a lot of that is the mindset, the mental side, the emotional side, because we're so used to using food as like an all-purpose medication to help us cope with life. And when you stop doing that, you need the support to be able to keep that motivation up, to be able to put food into its proper perspective so that you can eat normally. You eat for hunger and for pleasure, but not as a way to help you through life. So you stop using food, you eat for the right reasons, and to get that support, which is what I help people to do, is really life-changing for them. And it's really fulfilling for me to help people do what I've done, and it's worked for me, and it works for a lot of other people too.
And it makes so much sense. You're saying just stop the dieting and trust your body. Follow your body cues. And when you think about it, your body will certainly tell you, okay, that's enough, move on now.
Exactly. We were all born with the wisdom, this wisdom of our bodies to let us know when we're hungry and when we've had enough. We've just disconnected with that through dieting because we've been trying to follow these external rules. But actually, all the wisdom is inside of us. We just need to reconnect with it.
And we're just about out of time, but I want to talk again about that word. And if you just remember this as you're eating, mindful eating, and you talk about the French being able to do this so well, which is sit down, enjoy the meal, take their time, enjoy the taste, enjoy the companionship if they're eating with someone, but just really be aware of what you're doing and enjoy it in the moment. And again, and then get up and exercise after you've done that.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about, getting that activity in, eating, in a sort of with your full attention and just really enjoying it, and then just not eating mindlessly, eating, actually thoroughly tasting it. So don't multitask while you're eating.
We were talking before about having a piece of chocolate and it was hard to stop at one. How many times, and then people can answer this at home or in their car, wherever they are, how many times have you gone through chocolate and it's like, I just ate 5 of these and I really don't remember eating 5 of these. Talk about mindless eating. We consume it and for no apparent reason.
Exactly. So it's so important to, pay attention and really savor every bite.
You've been listening to This Week in America. Our guest has been Sally Asher. She's available online at sallyasher.com. Great website, ASHER.com. The book is Losing It in France. It's available at losingitinfrance.com. Good information there as well. You can buy it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. More information at our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and you can log on to our website and link up directly with Sally's. Sally, we'll have you back on the program. A lot of great information. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Rick.
You're welcome. You're listening to This Week in America on the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network.
You've been listening to This Week in America with Ric Bratton. And join us next time for another broadcast of This Week in America.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, associate producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, segment producer. Ben Watson, webmaster. Otto Bechet, director of engineering and TV production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC, and nationally syndicated by Syndication Networks Corporation. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, executive producer of This Week in America.